Namaste. My name is Kirti, and on behalf of Himalayan Yoga Association, I welcome you all to this online teacher training course. I am a teacher here at Himalayan Yoga Association, and I will be taking you through the concepts and details of the human body and yoga altogether. Let's hope you enjoy this course. Let's start.
Namaste and welcome back to the online yoga teacher training course. In the previous session, we went ahead and discussed the various functions and the properties and the structure of the bones in the human skeletal system. Today we are going to discuss the different structure of the human skeletal system specifically right here. Before we go ahead and do that, I request you all to please come and sit with me as we chant the Gayatri Mantra together. Adopt the meditative posture as you are. Join your index finger with your thumb. Open your chest wide, roll your shoulders to the back. Observe your tailbone, tuck it inside and lengthen your spine. Close your eyes and bring your complete awareness and attention to your breath and only to your breath. ये क्या था ऐसे? ऐसे लगा ना ऊपर हुआ कुछ बाग आ गया. Namaste and welcome back to the online yoga teacher training course. In the previous session, we discussed the different property and anatomy of different bones inside the human skeletal system. In today's session, we are going to further explain and bifurcate the human skeletal system, as you can see right here with my friend, the complete dummy skeletal system that we have here. But before we go ahead and do that, I request you all to please come and sit in attention with me as we chant the Gayatri Mantra together. Simply sit straight, join your index finger with your thumb, roll your shoulders to the back, lengthen your spine upwards, and as you have your eyes closed, look inside your body using your breath as an instrument. Simply observe how your breath flows in and out of your body. What all parts does your breath touch as it enters and as it leaves your body? And observe what kind of an effect it leaves on your mind. Observe how much efforts you need to calm your mind by simply slow and deep breathing. After you've gathered your awareness and attention, slowly bring your hands in front of your chest, Namaskara Sthiti. Join the heart center with the back of your thumbs. And with a lot of pride and gratitude in your voice and in your spirit, let's chant the Gayatri Mantra together. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Having absorbed the vibration of the mantra, let's gently start rubbing our palms and create some energy between your hands. Transfer this energy to your eyes first, and then you can move on to the rest of the body. Before you open your eyes, once again bring your hands back in front of your chest, bow down to your fingertips, and with a few blinks, open your eyes. Welcome back. So in the previous session, we discussed the bone anatomy. What functions does a bone have, specifically the long bones, how much productive they make our lives. They have a lot of hidden features as well, as I told you, regulation of different chemicals, fat storage, which can be life-saving at the time of dire crisis. They're very intelligent, the bones themselves, they're very, very intelligent. And as I've already told you, and I'm pretty sure you're also very well aware of the fact that there is no element in the universe that can remain and replace and still remain as functional as it is, similar to the bones in the human body. One of the hardest elements present in the universe, at the same time, one of the most productive and capable structure inside the human body as well. Now let's go ahead and further bifurcate the entire human skeletal system. I've brought along a friend with me for you to understand this better. Now the entire skeletal system, human skeletal system, can be broken down in two parts: axial skeletal system and appendicular skeletal system. Now the axial skeletal system, as the name suggests, something which runs through the midline of the body, takes care of all the bones that are present along the line of the vertebral column. This whole skeletal system, this whole portion of the skeletal system takes care of the bones of the skull, the bones of the entire vertebral column as it is, and the bones of the rib cage. Apart from that, all the other bones, like the bones of the arms, the bones of the legs, the bones of the pelvic girdle in case of the hip, and the bones of the pectoral girdle in case of the shoulders, all form the appendicular skeletal system. There are specifically 80 bones in total when it comes to the axial skeletal system, and 126 bones in total when it comes to the appendicular skeletal system. Let's go through the axial skeletal system first. The bones of the skull, or the cranial bones, as you can see right here, is a combination of a lot of fused bones all together. Along with it, the only moving bone in case of the entire face is the mandible, which is the jaw, connected to the temporal bone, which is connected to the skull bone as it is, forms a part of the cranial bone structure. There are also small bones in the form of the auditory ossicles, namely the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. These three bones together form the structure of the audible auditory ossicles of the human body, the human face, the purpose of which is to amplify the sound from the eardrum and make it audible for the human brain to recognize and understand. One last bone which is not visible here is called the hyoid bone. This hyoid bone is the only bone in the human body which is not connected to any other bone in the entire human body as it is. Even though it is just a bone in itself in structure and function, but it does not have any joints to any other bones inside the human body. The purpose of the hyoid bone is to lift open the trachea, which is present under the rib cage and above the stomach, and also to provide support and structure to the tongue muscles in the mouth. All of these bones, the skull and the hyoid, are a part of the entire cranial cavity, the cranial bones as it is, as well as the auditory ossicles. Auditory ossicles, fun fact, is also these three bones, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. These are also the smallest bones present in the human body. If you move on to the rib cage, which is also a part of the axial skeleton, then you see that there are about 12 different ribs in case of the rib cage. These rib cages, they protrude out of the vertebral column and they are connected to the thoracic part of the spine. 12 parts of the thoracic spine and 12 ribs in total as it is. Apart from the rib cage, there is also this single bone in the center of the rib cage which is called as the sternum. It is a very thin, flat, knife-like shaped bone, the purpose of which is to connect and give stability to the entire rib cage as it is. There are cartilage, namely costal cartilage, protruding on the outer edges of the sternum where the ribs are connected, and these provide partial movement to these rib cages at the time of breathing in and breathing out, which happens on an everyday basis. The last part of the axial skeleton is the entire vertebral column of the human body. There are a lot of details about the vertebral column that you need to understand, but I'll just give you an overview. There are about 26 bones in total, 7 in case of the cervical spine, 12 in case of the thoracic, 5 for the lumbar, 1 fused bone for the coccyx, and 1 for the sacrum. The further attachments and the structures of these bones we will discuss whenever I am going to discuss the entire vertebral column with you in thorough details. Before that, let's move on to the next part, which is the appendicular skeletal system. As I've already told you that all the bones inside the human body which do not run along the midline are called as a part of the appendicular skeletal system, namely these two upper limbs and the lower limbs, the humerus bone, the radius bone, the ulna bone, the carpals of the hand, the metacarpals of the hand, the femur bone of the leg, the tibia. All of these bones, whatever you see, the pelvic girdle, the acromionial bone, the shoulder bones, everything falls under the appendicular skeletal system. The entire skeletal system is a combination of the 3 different types of bones, the flat bones, the short bones, and the long bones. And you can simply observe, simply see this whole structure and observe. You can easily identify which bone falls in a category of the flat bone, which bone falls in the category of the short bones, and which bone falls in the category of the long bones as it is. This is everything that you need to understand about the 2 portions of the skeletal system. Another important aspect of the skeletal system is the ligaments. The ligaments is basically a connective tissue which connects bones to bones. Similarly, there is another connective tissue which is called as a tendon. A tendon is the connective tissue which connects the muscles to the bones. But since we are discussing the skeletal system over here, this is all you need to know. The ligament is something that you need to pay attention to because it plays a very big role in stabilizing the joints in the human body, especially when you're doing asanas. Understanding the limitations and the limitations as well as to what extent can you play around with the ligaments, you would be able to prosper in your own asana practice as well as help your upcoming students in their own personal growth. This is all you need to know about today's class. I hope you found today's class informative. One very important point that you need to remember is that you need to remember the names of all the bones inside the human body on your fingertips, because the skeletal system is something that you're going to work with throughout your life as a yoga teacher. So the more information you have about the skeletal system, the better teachers you will become as well. I hope you enjoyed today's session. This is all for today. I'll see you again next time. Until then, thank you and namaste.